As he wraps up a 26-year career in Congress, Panhandle Representative Mac Thornberry met with local Texas Farm Bureau leaders in Pampa last night. In providing his annual legislative update to the group, Thornberry touched on several topics, including pending legislation and the upcoming election, and he also made a special appeal to Farm Bureau members, asking them to remain vigilant in defending private property rights. After his presentation, I visited with Congressman Thornberry to get his thoughts on several topics, including what he calls his special relationship with the organization he had just spoken to.
I think Farm Bureau plays a crucial and unique role when it comes to advocating for, being a spokesman for, not just agriculture, but rural America more generally. Because Farm Bureau has a relationship with all 36 congressmen from Texas, for example. So when something's important, Farm Bureau can go talk to somebody, even if they just represent downtown Houston. There's just not many ag groups or rural groups that have that sort of outreach and inroads into a wide diversity of representatives. And there's just a degree of clout that goes with Farm Bureau believes this or says that is just can't be duplicated. So I appreciate, as representing a rural area, I particularly appreciate everything that Farm Bureau does because it helps me do my job.
Yes, indeed. Now, one of the things that you made this special request to the Farm Bureau audience, that they especially continue to defend private property rights. What comes to mind for me immediately is eminent domain, which I know would be a concern. Is it that, or is it that and other things?
Well, it's a combination of things. I'd say it's a trend that concerns me. With not only government, but others who think they know better what to do with your property than you do. And so I just see this accelerating effort to take away some of the private property rights that are so fundamental, not only to agriculture in rural America, but to our whole American way of life. And I think of Farm Bureau first because Farm Bureau's been at the forefront of protecting private property rights. And I just want to encourage the folks here tonight to continue to do that because Farm Bureau's voice on that issue needs to be heard.
And I would imagine that you're thinking in terms of, as I say, eminent domain, which is the taking of land, but you're also thinking about taking away the utilization of the land.
Yeah, and when we talk about private property rights, sometimes it's not just land; it's your animals. It's it's somebody else who is trying to tell you how to deal with your cattle or hogs or horses or whatever it may be. So it's expand the dangers to property rights are expanding. And that's why I think standing up for private property rights, again, which are just fundamental to our American economy and our American way of life, standing up for those things is so important.
And if I'm correct on this premise, and I think I am, how concerned are you, as you prepare now to leave Congress, to know that the percentage of members of Congress who truly have a connection to and even an understanding of agriculture has to be now much smaller than it was when you began?
Oh, it's changed drastically. Even when I started, there were not many members who represented agriculture and many fewer who personally came from agriculture. And now it is far, far less than that. I look at what's just happening within our state of Texas. Tremendous population growth, but that growth is in the cities and suburbs. And so our rural districts are going to grow bigger. And we're already seeing representatives, say, from the Metroplex, represent districts that extend out into more rural parts of the state, and that trend will grow. So what that means is rural representatives and interests have to be more effective than ever. And that's, again, one of the reasons I think Farm Bureau is so crucial in helping people like me in the future represent rural districts.
I guess maybe if we take a look at what could be called the largesse that agriculture has gotten from the Trump administration, things seem to be pretty good in terms of what government might be doing to support those in agriculture. But would you say that agriculture is getting a better deal now than it was when you took office initially?
Oh, no. It's certainly changed. And I always will worry if we are dependent upon government largesse to survive. That's not a good place to be, because what the government giveth, the government can take away, and it will. So I do think generally agriculture is on a more stable footing when we have the current insurance-based approach to farm programs and are really focused on growing our export markets and so forth. That sort of diversity makes us stronger. If we're just dependent on Congress passing a check in the next 90 days to survive, we're in trouble.
Absolutely. Anything else that you might like to say along these lines?
Well, just how much I appreciate Farm Bureau and Farm Bureau members. You know, we are all pulled in so many different directions. It takes a special effort to go to a Farm Bureau meeting, to be engaged in these issues. But if Farm Bureau members aren't, then there's unlikely to be many others who are speaking out, working for those issues. So I appreciate Texas Farm Bureau, but I particularly appreciate the members who give up their time and energy on behalf to support Farm Bureau and on behalf of those issues.
Then as to your future?
I don't know. We'll see. I'll always be involved in the cattle business at home at the ranch. I'll probably look for some other way to be occupied in addition to that, and I just don't know what that is.
So there you go. And like I'm sure all of you who just listened to that conversation, I am eager to see what the future brings next for Mac Thornberry. I appreciate the Congressman giving me some time last night, and I thank you for listening to JamesHuntAg.com.